Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree. This week I popped along to the Russian Abbey to speak to Ken Harding from Walking.im.
And I was in the Raven Hotel in Mhelliahs, where they held a Mhelliah for Mhelliahs School and in aid of hospice as well. I got a word with the auctioneer, well known in that field as well, Boosh Kerruish. There's plenty of Mhelliahs, as we'll hear later in the programme, Kirree, and a bit of walking, because I was out Smale Beach for a walk on Sunday, and the amount of people that were out there, and a bit of work done on the car park there.
Well, never. The amount of people that are getting in the countryside now, it's just lovely, isn't it? And that's one thing Ken did say there at Russian Abbey, was it's really, really encouraged people to get out in the Manx Hills and even around the coast and the beaches, like you say there, to enjoy it. And I asked him how this Walking.im came about.
Yeah, we're first leg today of the Treskillian Way. Been doing it on Sundays with a group, and it's been very popular. So we're starting with a new group today. We're from up through the Glen, up through Silverdale, over the fields, over the Round Table, down Glen Rushen, into Glenmay.
And that's not for the faint-hearted, but you say this is a short walk.
Yes, we split this, so it's a lovely route. It's about 36 miles, split it up into 4 sections, so it's manageable, and gives people the opportunity in the first instance to sort of find their feet before we do the longer sections over the hills.
Oh my goodness me. Well, like you say, anybody can get involved though, can't they? It's not that difficult, and you gauge it to each of your groups that you take. Absolutely,
yes. So do lots of different walks, varying from night walks through to done the Radnfollen twice, this with lots of different people. And my ethos is to make sure that people go at their own pace. I like to specialise and go with groups. So it's sort of moving through with the group dynamic, with them all supporting each other in the end, which is good.
And as you go, Ken, will you talk about the areas that you come across? Because obviously Silverdale's a beautiful part of the island. And up onto the Round Table, the views are just stunning. Will you give a little bit of background in the history of the Isle of Man?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we sort of do a bit as we're walking along. There are lots of different guides that do lots of different things, and some of them do specialise in walks where there's an awful lot of stopping, talking about the history, the culture, etc. We talk about things as we go along, points of interest, bits that I know are particularly good. And obviously if anybody asks any questions, we do our best to try and answer them, etc. But the idea is just to get people out and about, enjoying the group demographic, enjoying the physical side of things as well, enjoying the weather, hopefully, most of the time. I wouldn't say winter this morning, I'd say it's a very autumnal start. But blue skies we're talking now, which is excellent, so I'm sure that'll bring a smile to everybody's face this morning. It
really will, but what a bizarre year we're having, Ken. The lockdown has brought people to the countryside, and this will have probably engaged a lot more people with you.
Absolutely, yeah, as well. We've been doing, I've done the Radnfollen twice, as I said, and it's been fantastic. Yeah. People have said, well, I've always wanted to do that, let's go ahead and do it. That's been really... and then they said, I'd never thought this was here, I didn't realise it was so beautiful, I didn't realise I could go as far as we've gone. And also a lot of people have said, I didn't know this was here, or the history of this place, or the views that you see as well. So, yes, it's been very good, very good.
I think it has given people to get out and explore our beautiful island. And like you say, come with groups, people that you might not know. It's a great way to meet people, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the groups now, which is really positive from my point of view, are now repeat customers. So when I put new walks and things out, they're sort of getting together and they're all joining up, which is really good. Yeah, good. And
you're going to carry on through the winter. It's a bit wintry today. It is very autumnal yet. But when the nights are getting a little bit darker and the weekends, is there any more we can get up to?
Yes, hopefully, just put in the thinking head on really, trying to do all sorts of different things, certainly during the week. Got a Friday, just started up a collaboration with one of the other guides on the island, of Friday walks, group walks. The whole idea of those is just to put out a calendar of walks, starting places. People can get in touch and then they can just sort of turn up really if they want to, and we can go out. And we had the first one yesterday, it was fantastic, a little route around the Central Valley, which was really enjoyed by everybody that went. Yeah, it's good.
It's really good. And how do people find you, Ken, and get involved?
So social media, is Facebook and Instagram is Walking.im. My website is www.walking.im, so it all seems to work very well.
Very simple.
Very simple. Just send me a message. I try to put a lot on social media of what's coming up and other bits and bobs. And as I say, with these testing times that we're in at the moment, got to think of new ideas, new collaborative ideas possibly, and all sorts of different things that people can actually get involved with.
And like you say, getting out in the countryside is very good for the mind. It's very good for us to get out and do something, even if we maybe don't want to. It's so important, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. You know, people enjoy going out in the countryside in different ways. Some people like to go on their own. Some people like to go with groups. Some people like to think, well, let's put on a challenge, and there's all sorts of different things you can do with that. So, yeah, that's the whole ethos, really, is to try and work around all these different ideas and then come up with different solutions and products that the clients can really enjoy.
And what is your favourite walk?
Oh, that's a difficult one for me. I'd have to say the walk along the ridge of North Burrell is just fantastic. Yeah, the view down to the Kirree Valley is just fantastic, and then the views over the whole of the north and the glacial the terrain there is just fantastic, and even better if you can see right across as well.
That's it, isn't it? They believe at top of Stayfell you can see all parts of the UK, is that right?
That is right. They say you can see all the kingdoms, yes.
I see.
Yes, only once this year, I must say, but it has been, you can see them, so yes, you just see it. We've been very lucky with the weather a lot of the time this year, which has been excellent as well,
So, like you say, Ken, everybody can get involved. You know, some people may think, oh, we're not fit enough, or I'm not as able-bodied as I used to be. You know, you embrace everybody.
Absolutely, yes. You know, obviously, all the walks we put on different types of walks that the physical demands are different. The lengths are different. Shorter walks, longer walks, and everybody just gets in touch. And I've had so many people have said, oh, I'd like to do this, but I don't think I'm able to do it. So we put on different walks for them, and then they've got involved, which is really good as well. So, you know, it's good. Do
you bring a packed lunch though, Ken?
Not all the walks. Not all the walks are complete day walks where you have a lunch, but there's always part of my the interest, part of my job with what I do is finding the best spots for those packed lunches. So that's exactly what we do. Yeah, I found if you asked any of my clients, probably the lunch spots are probably the best bits where you can sit and eat your lunch and then stare at something really good. So yeah,
that was Ken Harding there from Walking.im.
Yes, many keen walkers around at the moment, isn't there? And I suppose during that lockdown time, people had a sort of regeneration of getting out when they could. You know, when they were stuck in the house for so long, sort of little family walks, and I think a lot of them have continued it.
They really have. They've kept that up as well, and some of the walks around the Isle of Man are just so beautiful, aren't they? And Ken's got a really, really busy schedule ahead. The autumn walks there every Friday, 10 until 1, all different parts of the Isle of Man, the chasms, and then out Peel Hill and up the north. But one thing I quite liked in particular was the Dark Skies walks, which are coming up on the 15th and 16th of October at 7:30 up at the Mountain Box, where you can go stargazing, satellite watching, and have a hot chocolate.
Oh, well, stargazing through the sunroof of the car, eh? We've got a guest with us today as well. Phil Gawne, welcome to Countryside.
Hi.
You've been out and about at the weekend as well, on the tree planting.
Yes, yeah, Aubrey and Russian Parish Commissioners, in combination with DEFA and the Woodland Trust, and I suppose Paul Costain, because he gave up the bit of land. It's actually DEFA's land. Paul had a tenancy on it, but just up from Tom the Dippers, if people know that. It's actually near where we live, but up the top of the Ballacalawi Road, there's a big bit of planting being going on.
She's quite a steep area, isn't
Yeah,
she?
it's quite steep, but some good soil. And the trouble is you keep hitting these stones with the spade, which is a bit of a beggar, but it's nice. It's actually there. Considering it's on a slope, there's quite a bit of shelter there. So the trees that we planted earlier, well, actually it was just sort of February, March time. They're growing mighty. I mean, there's some real good size on them, and they're only little strigs. It doesn't work on the radio when I do this with my hands, does it? But how big is that? About a yard high, maybe not quite that. and they're now 5 or 6 foot.
Are they all the same types of trees?
No, there's a whole mix of them. Steve Prescott from the Woodland Trust is great for gathering up seeds, old nuts and various things that he finds lying about the place, and putting them in pots and then planting them and growing them on. And so they're all native to the island, these trees. And it's going to be really good when it's all done. Hopefully, well, we've got another 2 Sundays to go. And
you don't need any help, do you?
Well, if you're volunteering, yes, 10:30 on a Sunday morning. If you head up from along the Ballacalawi Road up towards the Slough, you'll see us all there 10:30, usually for about 3 hours. But any help at all is most welcome. And it's looking really good.
But you've never really took your eye off the agricultural and the rural side of things, have you? You live out in the country, and you've been a big ambassador for doing lots of things naturally, I suppose.
Well, certainly try to. Yeah. I mean, I had the luckiest job in the world, as far as I was concerned, working at Cregneash. With horses and do it effectively. The reason I say lucky is because in most farming jobs you rely on someone. You have to produce something to get paid, whereas at least when you were working for the museum, you were getting paid by the museum, which was nice. But some fantastic memories working up at Cregneash. Coming back literally by the light of the harvest moon. Driving a horse with a big load of sheaves on the cart on the back.
I'm glad you said sheaves then.
Yes, and then an barn owl flying over the top of the cart as I was heading back, probably a bit too late really, but yeah, really fantastic times.
But even when you walk through the village now, though, if you're heading up to the chasms or you're having a walk around Cregneash, you just look in them sheds and you see them old hay rakes and old ploughs and bits and pieces, and it always brings you back. I mean, I wasn't that age where we ever used them, but I've seen them around on the older farms.
And it's hard work. That's the thing. I mean, I again, foolishly, I think, because the horse, I've still got this 30, I think he's 33 now, horse I used to plough with, and I feel awful hard of letting him go up, having him put to sleep, because he is getting old and he's getting a bit sore in his joints. But he's fussy because he's used to handmade hay when we were at Cregneash.
Spoiled.
So, yes, spoiled. So I've ended up having to make hay by hand. And by God, I mean, I did an acre, when would that be, 2 years ago? 3 years ago now. And it was one of those glorious hot sunny weeks where it was wall-to-wall sunshine for a whole week and good haymaking weather. And but it took me the whole week by hand with the pitchfork and the rake, and oh dear.
And one of my great memories, I suppose, when I was a lad, when we were sort of doing more farming then, was, we had the hay ourselves and that smell, but we used to go onto the Summerhill Road and places and the little back places, and they used to do the meadow hay. Yeah. It was just like a lovely, fluffy and different smell altogether. And
the sweetness. I mean, that's the great thing. I mean,
I wasn't eating it.
Well, no, but the smell of this stuff, even after 3 years, the hay coming out of the haystack, it smells as sweet as when you put it in. It's really, really fantastic. But of course, I mean, it took me a week to do an acre, largely by myself. I had a few people came to help, but of course, 150 years ago, there would have been large families and teams of people, and everyone would be mucking in, helping, trying to get the job done. And of course, that's the other thing that in your and my relatively short life times, we've gone from, I suppose, a very large proportion of the people on the island who would have had great connection with the land to hardly anybody at all these days. It's really quite dramatic, that shift over the years. Yeah.
Of course, changes are afoot always, no matter what line of business you're in. And I suppose, Kirree, you'll know a little bit about it as well, the changes to was it the countryside care? Or?
That's right. Now we're moving more onto environmental, more green policies within agriculture, and it's the way of the world. We have to protect our environments. And I suppose when Phil was in ministerial positions there in agriculture, he's seen the meat derogation being lost from the island and the uncertainty it brought to the farmers, the introduction of the single farm payment, and now, Phil, next week we have the new handbook coming out for the environment.
Yeah. I mean, 15 years ago, I was just about to face my first Tynwald as a minister, believe it or not. It feels like an awful lot longer than that, but 15 years ago. And, of course, then we'd just come back, I think, round about now, we'd just come back from Brussels, having been told absolutely no way that we were going to get an extension to the red meat derogation, which had protected the red meat industry for so many years. And then, of course, we were going to be left with a position where we had production support, so people had to produce to get the support, but not necessarily having a market to sell into, because with the loss of the red meat derogation, and red meat derogation basically protected the Manx meat market, it was really quite troubling times. So. Huge big meetings. I did like those meetings. We went. I don't know how many meetings we had. I counted them up on one occasion, but loads and loads of meetings, talking to people, trying to work out what the right way forward was. And that was when was it introduced? 2008, I think. And then gradually it's evolved over the course of the last 12 years. And another evolution on its way.
It's like everything, the big ones taken over, aren't they? Because a lot of the smaller farms are gone, and all the other farms that are still going are expanding. But it's just the way of everything at the moment.
Well, I remember Kirree's predecessor on the show, John Cregneash. I went round to see him one day about something, and he took me to a point on the farm and said, "Oh yes, look around here. There was 40 farms I could see from this point.
Really?
And now there's only, I don't know, he said half a dozen or whatever it was. And because it's just not profitable to run small farms, or at least not profitable to run small farms unless you're doing something else. There are people that've got smallish farms that do a bit of work for, I don't know, in the government or finance or whatever they are.
It's very much like the Irish way, isn't it? Yeah. Lots of them have a job as a builder or a tradesman and have a few pedigree animals on the side. But this pandemic, Phil, has certainly reiterated how important food security is, especially here on the island, and we must look after these farmers that are left.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the crucial thing. I mean, my view had always been that it was imperative that we kept a dairy, a mill and a meat plant on the island, because once it's gone, you'd never reintroduce these things, but they're really vital for food security for the island. Yeah.
All right, Phil, great to have you on Countryside, and we'll speak to you again soon. You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, it's that time of the year. We've spoke about it on a few occasions over the last few weeks, but the Mhelliahs in full swing. Michael Taggart, one of the gang, Leslie Quirk often does them, and I went along to the Raven where Boosh Kerruish was just warming up to do the Mhelliah in there, and I spoke to him and asked him first, how many so far had this been this year?
Oh, this is only number 3 so far, this one. It's only starting yet.
But it's something that you've been involved with, I suppose, the whole time since the beginning of the Young Farmers, I suppose.
Yeah, vaguely remember starting auctioneering, but I don't know why. Somebody must have thought I was going to be good, maybe because I can talk too much.
I suppose it's one of them things where many people have done it for many years. Leslie Quirk does the one in the Sulby. He's done that for many, many years. I suppose, Murray Kringle, I think, was involved in doing them for many years as well. And I think it's something that the apprentices come along and then the others stop doing it, and it keeps keep the mantle going, don't you?
Yeah, I always remember Lenny Kerruish doing them in the Mitre years ago when we were kids. We were like 15 or 16, and I thought, wow, that's great, I'd love to be able to do that. But here I am.
but it is such a friendly night, isn't it? People are there to support the charity or the club, whoever is running the Mhelliah, and maybe to get a bargain as well, and bid for something ridiculous at times when the few sherbets get in them.
Oh yeah. It's always, like you say, a friendly night. It's always good fun. Plenty of laughs and raising money for charity. You know, it's all a win-win, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, you and your sidekick Michael Taggart are often seen out together doing them as well, but he's not here this evening.
No, he's double booked himself this year for unknown reason, because this is his Mhelliah, this one. This is his baby, being a Balaf sort of fellow, but he's in the golf club in Ramsey tonight.
Oh, he's gone a bit upmarket, has he?
Oh, yeah, he's got his best tie on tonight, so is our apprentice, Michael Kelly's coming to help tonight, so I'll not be on my own.
Will he be accepted into this village here, though, you know, from doing the mitre ones and things?
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, Michael's still in the parish of Michael, isn't it? So, yeah, and I think a few people know me in Balaf now as well, don't they?
Yeah. But all in all, there's so many different things. I mean, what have we got here in front of us?
Oh, we got a bird cage there with peanut feeder. We got balloons, logs, loads of homemade cakes, fruit and veg.
There's a saw there.
There's a saw there, some tarpaulins. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff to go at.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've seen sold of many years that you've been doing at Boosh?
Turnips. You know, we get a couple of boys and they want a turnip and they just keep on bidding and bidding and bidding. But there's everything there is. You know, there's no set rule as to what you can sell. You can sell anything.
Because the turnips, we're coming up to Hop Tune A, and you know it's the sought after item. I don't know what the turnip crops have been like this year.
I think they should be good this year because there's been plenty of water, and there's plenty of drink for them. So I think I haven't seen many, but then of course you get the old pumpkins coming in nowadays, don't you? The orange pumpkins, which aren't quite the same, but they're easy to carve, aren't they?
Yes, because people can't be bothered scooping out the hard bits of the turnip in, and they was never really wasted either, was it? You know, scoop them out and get
it cooked and eat it raw as well. Yeah,
yes, have wind for a week.
Yeah.
But you still got the enthusiasm for doing them then.
Oh, love it! Oh, it's so great when you get going, and you know it's just great fun, isn't it? It's like the Young Farmers concert, but there's no judging getting done. I don't think there is, anyway.
We have another bag of off-duty spuds here and beetroot. It's going to start off there. Couple of pounds of spuds and beetroot. Couple of pounds. £2, £2, £2, £2, £2.50 anywhere, £2.50. £2.50. Bag of spuds and beetroot. £2, £2, £2, a bag of spuds and beetroot.
Wouldn't know that. And how many will you get through in a sort of typical season of doing them?
I think I counted up last year. I think we did about 13 or 14 last year, and we raised about 30-40 grand.
Really?
Yes, it's fantastic, really, when you think about it. So it was probably about a similar amount this year. I've actually had to say no to a couple this year because they're just clashing with different dates. But yeah, between the three of us, we'll be doing like 12 or 13 again, I suspect.
Yeah.
So it's all for charity, isn't it? It's all good fun. There's more stuff arriving here now as well. Look at this.
There's 6 strawberries on a punnet there. I think the others have been ate on the way up there. But there's pies, apple pies arrive, a fruit bowl there as well.
Oh yes, plenty.
And the place is we nearly not even 7:30, and the place is just about
it's nearly full, isn't it?
No seats left, yeah,
and people are arriving as we speak. Yeah.
And what's tonight's in aid of?
Tonight's half it's going to Balaf School because it's Balaf School Mhelliah, and the other half is it's a bit of a sad event really in some ways because it's going towards hospice in memory of John Kirree, who died recently, who was a big sport for young farmers, of course. From just down the road in Balaf here, so yeah, it's a bit sad, but you know, if we can raise a few £1,000, it'll go to a very good cause at hospice, won't it? So
it will do indeed. Well, we'll let you crack on. We're about to get started. So
okay, thank you very much, Simon.
Look forward to a bit of spiel and probably a bit of abuse for people.
Oh, definitely.
Well, dabbled in every part of agriculture, I would say. Boosh Kerruish, doing the auctioneering at the Mhelliah in the Balaf Raven Hotel there. So a great night had by all. And lots of money raised as well, as always. And that's why I think so many people support them and generously give them. You like a Mhelliah, don't you?
Oh, we love a Mhelliah. I think that's one of the points in the calendar. The harvest is all gathered. It's a quieter time on the farms and you can get out and enjoy what you've grown all year. And Boosh Kerruish, a real character of the Manx countryside. He still has a lot to do with the farm and working with Lease there, the haulage company, and buying and selling a bit of hay and straw as well.
Yes. All right, we'll leave it there for this week's Countryside. We're back next week with more. So until then, from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kirree.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.